Oh, it turns out I can't drive my boat. I thought I could drive boats. It turns out this one is a whole different animal. So in this video, as you know, I got back from pool and I made up near Moonfleet. This is just a little sort of taster of probably what's to come for the foreseeable future on the channel with regards to me driving. I cocked it up. I cocked it up pretty bad. I didn't hit any boats, which is good, but I didn't get where I wanted to go, which is bad. So yeah, in this video I'm going to run you through where the boat was, where I went to, tell you what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to achieve, and show you what actually happened. And then I'm going to talk about why and the differences between this new boat and the old boat. Yeah, and I realise I've not done a tour of this boat yet. I'm actually filming that today, so that'll be up for the website and the channel members when you guys see this, hopefully, if I manage to get it edited. But I've just been working all the time, so yeah, we'll see. So yeah, let's have a look where we are in the marina, what we're trying to achieve. So this is Portland Marina, and that is the direction of the wind there at about 10 or 12 knots. Off to the right, that red blob is where I am on the big hammerhead. My intention is to gloriously just motor around the outside of the breakwater, do a little spinny win in the visitor area, which is what I usually do, and then reverse down the fairway between November and Mike, and then all casually just reverse into my berth, swinging it around, bang, into yonder. That's not actually my berth is actually a little bit further up there, but you get the idea. That was the plan. That isn't exactly what happened. Yeah. Alright, as we get going, I forgot to put the camera on as I left the pontoon. You can just see the hammerhead over my left shoulder there and the back of Moonfleet. So I'm going to head along the inside of the breakwater towards the visitor areas now. So I'm heading in a sort of northwest direction-ish towards the visitor area where there's quite a bit of space with the intention of spinning it around, as I said. So I may as well tell you about the differences and why I struggled with this boat compared to my other one. One, this boat weighs nearly twice as much, if not twice as much as my last one, which means, why does my phone always go off? I'm going to sneeze as well. Don't think about it. Weighs almost twice as much, which means momentum is much more of an issue in this boat than it is in the previous one. Oh, I'll put that on silent, shall I? Yeah, momentum is a far bigger thing in this boat, which is a consideration. However, the biggest consideration is that my previous boat had a fin keel, a skegged rudder with a sail drive, which was just in front of the rudder and skeg. This boat has a full keel and a transom-hung rudder with a cutout for the prop. Now, I didn't think that the cutout would be an important factor in this. However, once a chap called Carl, who I met in New Haven, messaged me and he said, "You've got a cutout for your rudder, so if you put the tiller all the way over, instead of getting the prop wash that I was expecting, all of that wash just goes straight through the cutout and out the back, which pushes me forwards instead of around," which just hadn't twigged. So yeah, that becomes a factor later on. Also on this, every boat has prop walk. Now, prop walk is great when you can use it to your advantage, or it's okay when you know it's predictable and you know which way it's going to go. This boat will walk, I checked this, to starboard in reverse. Therefore, if I want to turn the boat around like I am now, I want to do it in a counterclockwise direction so that my prop wash going out of one side and my prop walk going out the other side both act to spin the boat with each other rather than against each other. So up to press, everything is going as planned. The wind is now on my starboard beam. So I know the prop is going to continue to walk to starboard, so I thought, right, I'll not complete the turn and I'll get into astern before before the turn's completed, get some way on in astern. The prop will walk to starboard, keep me going that way. I'll get some rudder authority, which you can feel with the pressure on the tiller. And as you can feel here, I'm just moving the tiller just to try and feel that rudder authority. And I have 0. Absolutely no pressure on there whatsoever, and you can see that the boat is actually kicking all the way around to port, and I'm just not getting any authority whatsoever. There is nothing I can do. It is going to port, not starboard. And that's the end of that, basically. I had absolutely, just completely went the opposite way to what you were expecting, and that was that. So because I work at the marina, I'm aware of where there are empty berths and stuff. So I now know that there is an empty berth next to the one I was going to reverse in, which means I can drive into it and all my lines and fenders are on the same side. So at this point, I've decided, right, we're not going to try and go backwards down a fairway. It's just not going to happen. What I'm going to do is go forwards and go into the berth next to mine and just claim that as my next new berth. But already here, I'm thinking, what have I got myself into? I don't know how I feel about this. So yeah, the secondary issue that I'm having is that the engine controls are just not what I'm used to. I discussed this in the last video, whereby I have a forward and reverse and a separate governor. The governor, if you pull it too far back, cuts the engine. That's the engine stop as well, which is incredibly frustrating, because if you grab a handful of the wrong lever, which you're gonna do when you first start driving a boat, you end up with no engine and no drive. Just the vessel coming up on the left here with the blue hull is called Fleeter. I actually took that over to Weymouth with the skipper a couple of days ago to fuel up. That is a very, very cool boat, an ex-Dutch fisheries patrol vessel. It's so cool. And watching him drive that, which is a big single prop and single rudder and weighs 50 tons, made me ashamed about my inability to drive mine. But it is what it is. Alright, plan is in the head. We're coming in and we're going to berth on the other one. However, I know that it is a closed berth, so that is, if you look to the left now, see the little speedboat with the blue on it? That is a closed berth. If I was to try and turn into that berth, because it's not like a car where your tyres are on the ground and give you resistance, you're moving in the water. If I try and turn left into one of those closed berths, all my momentum is still pushing me down the fairway, so you end up falling onto the boat next to you. So an open berth, like for instance the vessel you can see there with the blue stripe on the hull, that one I could drive straight into. My momentum would push me onto the finger, which is ideal. Are these my berths here? No, I'm still further down yet. Yeah, so I know I've got a closed finger, so my intention is to go past, spin it around, get the bow through the wind, and then drive up into that berth. And I was expecting to be able to turn this boat the same as I turned my other one. So these are the two empty berths on the left now. The far one is my berth, the closest one is the one I'm going to have to go in. So I'm coming past the berth to turn the boat in the fairway and motor up into it. But what I do here is I put the tiller hard over, which means any time I'm trying to get prop wash, I'm not getting the wash. What I'm getting is forward movement, which means the turn does not happen as I expect it. What I should have done is go hard astern now and get myself back out and come into it properly from the other way. What I actually do is end up at 45 degrees to the entrance of the berth. If there'd have been another boat in there, I wouldn't have done it like this anyway, but if there had been another boat in there, I'm in trouble now, because the wind is now off my port beam and blowing me into the berth. And I realised pretty quick that this isn't going to work. I probably could have rescued it if I'd have just had a bit more confidence in myself, but I'm thinking I'm going to hit my new boat. So what I could be doing now is getting the prop wash the other way. But my concern is I'm now getting blown down onto the other boats, and that is not a good position to be in.
So I'm just take a breath is the biggest thing. I'm taking a breath here. I'm looking at the different movements. I've got the tiller hard over, because what I don't want to do is the bow to come round too quick, which it is doing now, and hit the bow of this other vessel that is becoming visible to you now. And I missed that vessel's anchor by approximately 2 feet. It might not look it from there, but I was very, very close. But yeah, I managed to get out. Now I'm in a pickle, because I'm facing the wrong way. I've got a little bit of wind. It's not too drastic, but you can see there is wind there. And I don't know the boat well enough to know what it can do. So I try and ask it to do something that it won't do. The boat will do it. I just couldn't do it. It was outside of my my abilities. So now I'm thinking about going into this next berth along, and you can see the runway there coming up. We do not want to land on there. It would have been fine, it's just that you look a complete numpty if you end up stuck on there. So I spin it round and I think, sod it, I'm going to drive into this berth here, this one will do. But I overcook it and over rotate and can't get the prop wash to stop me. And you can see that I'm just sort of scrabbling at controls here, because I'm not comfortable with driving the vessel or anything like that. What I should have done, and Jez offered this, is to have somebody on the thing to grab lines. I would have got into that first berth that I've tried if somebody would have been able to grab my bow line. So now I'm in a position, beam on, in what we call the red part of the fairway. Thank you, Hayden. So if you look up the fairway now, green a bit to the left, amber in the middle, and red to the right, because the wind is blowing you towards the red. Luckily there's a gentleman on there, and my concern is what you can't quite see it, but I am beam on to a vessel's twin engines hanging out the back, not the one you can see off forward. It's just becoming visible now, and my concern is that I'm going to blow into that. So I just grabbed a handful of reverse. I'm right down next to the fairway. I'm not in a position I want to be in, and just by pure luck this gentleman was on the finger berth, and if I'd have been aiming for this berth, it would have looked like I've done a half decent job. But no, I wasn't. Luckily this gentleman was able to control the bow. I'm already flummoxed here. I'm not thinking straight. I should have told him to just make the bow off. Instead he's ended up with 2 lines and wind on the beam, which the guy did super well helping me out. I should have just actually thought about it and just asked him to tie the bow off, which is he chucks the stern on, but just in a second I asked him to tie the bow off, which is what I should have done. Take the bow forwards, and yeah, once I've got that bow line on, even though the stern's going to kick out in a minute and I'm going to come away from the pontoon and start bearing down on the vessel to my starboard side, once that bow's made off, I can just come astern, which is what I'm doing now. Once I'm coming astern, even though the prop walk is taking me off to starboard, finally, I'll just hang on that bow line. Once tension comes onto it, gentleman's giving me a helping hand, but once tension comes onto that bow line, the boat will just practically bring itself alongside, and it will hold there, and the rest, as they say, is rope work. So yeah, it wasn't pretty. I didn't hit anything. A big thank you to this gentleman.
Thank you very much indeed, appreciate it.
I don't know what I said into the camera there, but it probably wasn't great.
So that was that. Yeah, not all rainbows and kittens. Definitely not. Plan A didn't work, but as my old mate Dave used to say, we'll try this, and if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. Which we definitely tried something else on this occasion, a couple of something else's. I was just really lucky that the gentleman was in position there and saw that I was struggling and helped me out. So thank you, Mr. Gentleman. Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, if he hadn't been there, I would have just gone into that berth and I would have rested on the boat next to me, which is a fishing boat type thing with rubber strakes around it. It's not an issue. Another stupid mistake that I made was not overconfidence, but not thinking ahead, is that I only had fenders on one side because I didn't have all my fenders. My fenders are on the other boat. I just had four little fenders that I managed to scrabble for this one. I got some other ones, but I put them all on one side like an idiot instead of just putting them out on both sides, having lines on both sides and properly preparing. That is not a mistake I will make again. Yeah. I mean, I always have fenders on both sides, and on my previous vessel I had midship cleats, and I always had a long line on each midship cleat, both run back to the cockpit, so that no matter which side I ended up on, which side happened, I could hook a breast line on, motor into it and be alongside. And I just failed to prepare properly. It's as simple as that. If I don't have midship cleats on this boat, that's something I'm going to have to put on because they are an absolute lifesaver when you're single-handed. Yeah, not a mistake I'll make again. I'll make sure that I've got fenders out both sides like you should do, lines out ready to go both sides like you should do. Yeah, just silly. Honestly, on Genie Stewart, wherever I went to, I had bow lines laid over the rails, I had my midship lines brought back, fenders on both sides, and stern lines ready to grab as well. And I just didn't do that, which was stupid. But hey, life is just a series of learning experiences, and that was a learning experience. I will learn how to drive the boat properly. It's not an issue. It just takes practice and time. As I sit here now, I'm trying not to do anything on this boat. I want to save what money I've got to complete Genie Stewart, and then she can be either used or put up for sale. That is my priority. So in order to take this boat out again properly, I need to replace all the filters, I need to overhaul the fuel system, I need to clean out the fuel tank, I prefer to service the engine properly, all sorts of things that is going to be time and money that I just don't have at the minute because I'm working and the money I need to save for Genie Stewart. So yeah, that was that. It wasn't graceful, but at the end of the day, no damage to my boat, no damage, more importantly, than anything to anybody else's boat, because that is my biggest worry in a marina. I can ding my boat, I can fix it, but you know, you hit somebody else's, and although 99.99% of people are absolutely fine and they understand that these things happen in a marina, it's still not nice, is it? And the last thing I need is an insurance claim and not being able to get insured. So yeah, that's that. That's this video. Yeah, all a learning experience. Once I get this boat sorted, we'll do bumps and grinds for hours upon hours at end. We'll go out, we'll pick up mooring buoys, we'll anchor, we'll sail onto anchor, we'll do all the good stuff and just get used to handling this boat and learning about it. I'm so upset, obviously, that Dave isn't here, because a few hours with Dave is worth 20 hours on my own, if not more. So yeah, but not the only reason we miss him. But yeah, that's that. So now I'm going to tidy up the boat a little bit and film a little tour that you'll see next week if you're on normal YouTube, or this week if you're on you're a member of the website. Well, members of the website and members of the channel have already seen little impromptu tours inside and outside that I just filmed on the mooring buoy, just as a little snippet. But yeah, I'll do an actual boat tour for the rest of the YouTube people this afternoon, hopefully. So yeah, that's that. Peace out. Run the credits.